Hello everyone, my name is Avery Williams and I did my presentation about the character Frank Gallagher from the Netflix original show Shameless. So, unless you've lived under a rock the past few years, you've probably heard of the original show Shameless, starring a non-conventional family in the south side of Chicago. So, a notable character in the show is Frank Gallagher, who is the protagonist and the absent drunk father of all the Gallagher children. He's infamously known to be a drunk whose only goal in life is to drink and have fun. So, although his character isn't likable, I have always found his lines very captivating and very convincing. He actually did graduate high school and attended a semester or two in college at Northwestern studying psychology, which might explain why he words his sentences so good. Because I'm limited on time, I'll focus on one specific speech of his. In this scene, Frank is trying to convince his kids that his partner and their mother, Monica, is worse off in the hospital. His ultimate goal is to get Monica out of the mental institution that she's in because the treatment she's receiving is making her give up her family. In this short speech, Frank uses many tactics. First, he's mainly speaking to Fiona, his daughter, whose notable weakness is her siblings. She always puts them first. Frank knows that. So by speaking to her, he really caters what he says so that his younger son, Carl, hears it and gets worried about his mom, which concerns Fiona. In the big picture, Fiona does not care at all about Monica, but she cares for her younger siblings' happiness, as they still care for their mother. He does this by mainly saying that their family will be torn apart, which is obviously worrying for a 10-year-old boy. Secondly, one thing about Frank that I've always found convincing is that you can tell he is sharp. His arguments are always fast and oftentimes use big words that build up his credibility. With his audience of typically uneducated working-class citizens, most of them don't really have the intellectual capability to even fight back. That's what gives him the upper hand. In this specific example, he uses the big words like lobotomy to scare Carl and Fiona. Neither of them really understand what it is, so he takes the opportunity to give them the definition in his own words. Thirdly, he uses extremes on his argument to try to stretch out his reasons. He says that Monica will be average, boring, medicated, normal. With regards to mental health, these are all good stereotypes that people are scared about in the first place. So by using them, he just wants to concrete that help with mental illness is bad, which is really his thesis. He also compares the power used for electroshock therapy that can take out an entire city block and says the next time our light flickers, that's someone's brain fried, which leads to my next point. Fourthly, and the most important, is that Frank is confident. This reason ties into the second one about him being sharp, but Frank is always confident and never stutters or second guesses himself. He doesn't use filler words and seems like he always knows just what to say. One of his characteristics is he caters his speech to whom he is speaking with, which is a way to effectively communicate by looking at your audience. Finally, Frank ends with a note that made Fiona actually make eye contact with him and think again, with saying that Monica will lose the only thing important to her, the family. This ending note makes everyone in the room consider his argument. Even if he himself isn't credible at all, his words may be. Obviously, there were a lot of notable scenes to choose from. Frank Gallagher has many moving speeches throughout the entire seasons. Overall, Frank in the show has been known to get some people out of some very tough situations by just being very persuasive and knowing exactly what to say and how to say it. This scene particularly is so small, but yet shows his way in just a limited amount of time that he can make his argument convincing, though he himself is not even worth a stare at. Thank you for your time.